All right, hey Trevor here, just with a fully engaged partner update. And there's a reason why I like that language of partnership in particular, and it has to do with this whole idea that what it means to be fully engaged at SMCC. It's not like belonging to a club where you get certain perks, or if you're a member at this place, then you get certain exclusive access to things. It's not that kind of thing. But what it means to be fully engaged at SMCC is that you really have partnered with us in our mission. That in many ways, our mission has become your mission, right? And when I think about us at the Lehi campus, what does it mean for us to live out that mission? To help as many people as possible take their next step towards becoming fully devoted and fully delighted followers of Jesus Christ. FD, right? What does that mean for us? I think about the valley that we exist within, Utah Valley, that has over 700,000 people who call this valley home, who live here, and yet by some estimates, it's less than 1% of that population actually believe in, trust, and follow biblical Christianity. That is a tiny percentage of that valley. And so we got a significant mission that we're after. And so what it means to be fully engaged here is to be someone who is partnering with us in that mission, that mission in many ways has become your own, and we're getting after this thing together. So in light of that, what I want to do is just kind of give like a State of the Union update. We had the chance to do something similar to this, or really this very thing back in March when we had an Engage night. But I want to have the chance to give updates sort of more regularly as well. And I figure this is one really helpful avenue for doing that. So fully engaged update, just basically kind of looking back, talking about where we're at in the present and where are we going moving forward. So if we start by looking back, kind of taking stock of what's led us up to this present moment, just looking at the prior ministry year. So our ministry years run from basically July 1st all the way to the end of June 30th, right? So that's our fiscal year, and that's really how we plan the rhythms of our ministry year as well. And so with that, every campus has certain metrics that it's looking after. But before we get to that in a second, before we get to numbers, before we get into metrics, any of that stuff, I think we can all agree that it was a significant year for the Lehi campus, that there was a lot of wonderful things that happened, and there was even some significant change and transition, right? Campus pastor change. I am, I'm psyched to be here. I love being at this campus. I love calling this place home with you all. And yet I know that that's a significant change and transition for any community, any campus to go through. So that was something that happened. In addition to that, we took our children's ministry role from part-time to full-time, which was an investment within the campus and even an investment within that particular ministry itself that has already paid significant dividends. Jeff's doing a wonderful job in that role, and I can't wait to see some of the things that we have in the works for that as well, that we're able to do because of that. So those are some of the kind of broader things that happened. Beyond that, if we do get into the metrics, right, we've got really every campus, and then across the orchard, across all 5 campuses of SMCC, there's 5 metrics that we pay attention to. And basically, those are, baptisms, first-time givers, first-time guests, people who are in groups or classes, and then also people who are serving. And so we pay attention to kind of those 5 because in a lot of ways, those 5 tell a story about what's happening within the life of a campus or what's not happening, right? They're just really healthy things to pay attention to. And so with that, we have goals in those areas. And one of the things I'm glad to say is that when it comes to those goals, we actually met or exceeded the goal for the prior ministry year in 4 of those 5 categories. And 4 of the 5, and 80% of those goals, we actually hit and even exceeded what we were trying to do within those areas. So for example, if we get into specific numbers, baptisms, we had, our goal was 12 baptisms. We actually had 18 baptisms take place, which was fantastic, especially when you get the chance to hear the stories. We had one Sunday where we had 10 baptisms take place, and it was an incredible Sunday. So that's definitely something to celebrate. First-time guests. We had, our goal was 330. We had 553 first-time guests walk through our doors, either participating in some event like Fall Fest or Jingle Jam, or showing up on a Sunday morning, checking their kids in, or even turning in a welcome card or a connect card, right? And so that's fantastic. People in groups, which includes, men's ministry, women's ministry, the women's weekend, man camp groups, SMCCU classes, kind of all of that, those next step type environments. The goal was to have 200 people participating with those. We had 308. And so fantastic there. and then people serving. The goal was to have 170 people step into serving in some capacity. We had 200 people actually serve in some capacity. So those 4 of the 5, we not only met, but we exceeded, in some cases significantly exceeded the goal that we had set, which is an indication that there's significant spiritual growth happening within the lives of so many individuals at this campus. The one goal that we didn't meet was actually our first-time giver goal. The goal was to have 50 people step into giving for the first time, practicing generosity within the context of this community for the first time. The goal was 50. We actually had 39. That's still 39 people who stepped into that for the very first time. So that's absolutely something that I'm celebrating and is a good thing. And if we even look at the giving numbers totally, if you look at that, for the Lehi campus, we had, our goal was essentially, back in our Engage night, we were basically on track to finish the year 13% behind. And as a result of some of the growth in this particular area that took place, especially at the tail end of the year, we were on track to finish 13% behind, $50,000 behind what our giving goal was. And we made up a significant amount of ground in the closing months of the year, where we actually closed out, instead of 13% behind, about 8% behind. And so rather than 50 to 55,000 behind, we were kind of in between 25 to 30,000 behind our goal. So still not exactly where we want to be, but we're seeing growth, seeing people step into that for the very first time, and to see that amount of ground made up at the tail end of the year, I think is an indication of some very good things to come in that particular area. So on all accounts, I'm very encouraged at the end of this year, and those are just Lehi specific numbers. If you look at the broader numbers for just SMCC as a whole, you see that, again, when it comes to those 5 metrics, as a whole, we hit 4 out of 5 of the goals, and it was actually the same makeup as Lehi. First-time givers was the only goal that we didn't actually hit across the board, across all of our campuses. But when it comes to giving, we actually, some news to celebrate here. We had in expenses this past year across the whole orchard, 4.2 million was the number that we had in expenses. 4.7 is actually what we brought in terms of giving. And even some rental income that we have, different situations at different campuses. And so that's a $500,000 surplus that allows us to basically invest into our Greater Things Fund, which plays a role in so many different things, like opening up new campuses, like even the building, right? So many of the 2030 initiatives, they will be funded out of the Greater Things Fund, and essentially that amount of surplus puts us in an incredible position already moving forward on so many of those things that will be massively helpful for us as a church and even for us as a campus, right? The ability to have a permanent building here someday in Utah County, that amount of financial health, that type of financial health really sets us up well for that in the future. So a lot of good things to celebrate about what took place in the ministry year of 2024 to 2025, July to June there. So all right, that's kind of looking back. And really the story, if you could wrap it up, say, man, we're in a great place. But let's talk a little bit about where we're at now. We're in the midst of the summer. Everything a lot of the programming for ministry comes to a pause at the end of spring, and then it kicks up again in the fall. And so summer, really, almost like a football team, is a time to take stock. What are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? Where do we double down on our strengths? Where do we try to shore up some weaknesses? What are kind of the fall initiatives we want to lean into? How do we invest in the ministries that we have well moving forward to set us up for an even better ministry year ahead? And so that's really what the summer has been about for us. And with that, there's been a few different initiatives that we've been focusing on. And with that, I would say one thing has been night school. It's kind of been a fun thing for me, almost like a hobby horse, to just extend an invitation to anyone at the campus who teaches in any capacity, whether it's children's ministry, women's ministry, worship ministry, people who give calls to worship, and almost like little devotionals happening within the worship service, talking about men's ministry, community group leaders, SMCCU teachers, anyone who teaches within any capacity. It was an open invite to this, and was a chance to basically walk through how do you go about creating good, compelling content? What are even ways that you can develop that skill set? How do you deliver things well and effectively and persuasively? And then the final one coming up in a few weeks is actually where people will have the chance to deliver content that they themselves crafted. So just a way to invest in our broader teaching ministry here at the Lehi campus, because the better teachers we have in every one of these areas, the more effective our teaching will be, the stronger our entire campus will be in terms of spiritual growth and health. So that's been a really fun thing for me. I've enjoyed that a ton. Student ministry as well. Matt Gonzalez is doing a wonderful job running that ministry, and there's a great team as well in place for that. And so Matt and I have been just meeting with some different people. We met with the student pastor down from Center Point, and met with actually my mentor, who spent a significant amount of time in student ministry, just kind of learning and asking questions and delving deeper into what are really the nuts and bolts of student ministry. And so that's been a lot of fun to take a deeper dive into that and to rethink kind of, man, how do we continue to improve the ministry that we have in place there moving forward? We actually have a Student Sunday coming this week, so it'll be a chance to talk about that at more length as well. Beyond that, we've got KidsCon, which actually isn't preparing for the fall. It's something we're doing right now. First time we're doing this, and it actually starts next week, Monday to Wednesday. So I'm super excited. This happened down in St. George, happened over at our South Jordan campus. They're running theirs as well. Jeff's actually been planning in coordination with Sierra and Sarah, the two children's leaders at those, or directors at those two campuses. And so, man, I'm so excited for it. I think it's going to be so much fun. And then beyond that, we've been planning for the fall, getting our fall initiatives ready. So those have really been kind of the main investments that we've been getting after over the course of the summer. And that's how we're using the time to really invest in our strengths, shore up our weaknesses, do whatever we can to have as effective as a ministry year as we can coming into this next year of 25-26. Okay, so that's been the summer. Now, talking about the fall, we've been planning for the fall. What do we have happening in the fall, right? What's actually coming up for us? I'll say this, one of the main initiatives that we have in place, one of the things that I'm really excited about coming into this fall is our midweek initiative. And I know midweek's language that's kind of associated with our student ministry. This is something a little bit different from that. It's actually a pairing of our SMCCU ministry alongside of our children's ministry. So one of the best things, I think one of the most significant reasons to take our children's ministry role from part-time to full-time was that it gave us the ability to do things like this, things like KidsCon, and even things like this particular ministry, where we're going to add a children's midweek that's going to run alongside our SMCCU classes on Wednesday nights starting September 10th. So from September 10th all the way to November 5th, there's going to be 1 week where we're on break. Alpine School District has fall break the week of October 15th. So that Wednesday will be off. But apart from that, every Wednesday night, 6:30 to 8, there will be children's programming for kind of, and even childcare for the younger ages, all the way from birth up to 5th grade, that will pair right alongside SMCCU classes that are being offered here. I'm planning to teach Making Sense of the Bible. Tim Naylor's planning to teach the first 5. And so I know for so many people, they want to grow spiritually, they want to take next steps. But one of the most significant challenges is the barrier of childcare. This removes that barrier so many people can come on out, can check their kids, and their kids can have a great experience. They can be learning about the Bible. They can be growing in relationships. And people here also can be growing in relationships, can be growing in their understanding of the Bible, growing spiritually, developing a sense of community, so many good things. And so, man, I'm so excited for this particular initiative. We're still kind of tweaking the language and working out the branding around it. But I'm excited to see what happens with it. And I even think there's some really good potential for our groups to jump into it in a way that really serves both the midweek ministry and serves our community group ministry in a really effective way. So more to come on that. But yeah, so I'm really excited for that. In addition to that, we've got our women's ministry is going to be doing a study on Titus that I think is going to be fantastic. Such a profound and impactful book, especially when it comes to relationships within the church community. So I think that'll be a wonderful thing. And then community groups, the plan is to start those up a little bit earlier. So, midweek kicks off September 10th. The plan is for groups to kind of get started the week of August 24th. Now, obviously, if you're a group leader, I'll be connecting with you, and we'll be coordinating details and getting everything set and in place. But the plan is that week of August 24th to get things launched and running there with some promotion leading up to it, and even some special promotion that particular Sunday, August 24th. So if you're a group leader, more information to come on that, but just want you to know that we've been thinking about it, we've been praying about it, we've been putting plans together, and I'm really excited for what we have in the works there. So when it comes to the fall, those are really some of the big things that we have in the works. Beyond that, I think the last thing I would say, is just an invitation to pray. Again, this is a fully engaged update, an update for those who have partnered with SMCC, where our mission really has become your mission in a significant way. And so my ask would just be, man, would you be praying about the things that we have going? KidsCon, would you be praying? Our first time doing this, that it would be a great time, that kids would love it, it'd be impactful for families, and it'd be a wonderful thing for the life of our campus. Would you be praying for our midweek initiative? Be praying for our community group leaders? Be praying for even some of the broader things that we have coming even further down the road, like, for example, land. Land is something that's going to play a significant role in us getting and securing that permanent building. And so, would you be praying for God to bring about land in some way? Would you be praying for 3 services? Is another thing that's kind of on the horizon for us. And I know Lehi's been at 2 services for a significant amount of time. And I think when we hear 3 services, there's all kinds of things that can come to our mind that maybe some good, some not so good. I'll say this, that we know that we've crunched the numbers, we've looked at our space, we kind of know from children's ministry to parking to the worship auditorium, all of those different things. What we know is that we don't need to make that move until we're averaging over 500 people on a Sunday. But once we get to that place where our average is over 500 people on a Sunday, where our attendance is there, that's likely something that we'll have to do. Now, here's the interesting thing about that. Through the winter, kind of January through May, we were averaging about 400 people on a Sunday. Typically, you see that number drop off pretty significantly throughout the summer. And that number has dropped off a little bit, but not that much. This past Sunday, we actually had 375 people in attendance here this past Sunday. And typically what you see is a significant jump again, leading into the fall, building all the way to Christmas and even all the way to Easter. And so, what I'm saying is, it's hard to predict the future. It's hard to know what's going to happen. But the fact that we were averaging around 400, we haven't seen that significant of a dip over the summer, and we're coming into the fall where things typically do grow, is that, man, I'm not sure what's going to happen, but there's good potential that we continue to grow in significant ways as a campus in size, but also in spiritual health and growth. And so we're just paying attention to those numbers and want to do all the learning that we can do from the other campuses that have made that jump, right? Draper campus, St. George campus, South Jordan campus, International campus, all those campuses are actually at 3 services already. So we want to learn from them. What's the good? What's the bad? What's the ugly? How do we do this well? What are the things that we need to do to have in place to make this a good and a smooth and an effective transition? But what I want you to know is that once we're averaging over 500 people on a Sunday, that's when we'll be looking to make that move, and we'll be planning and getting things in place ahead of time. So I'd appreciate your prayers around those, basically these 4 things: land for our next building, because that's such a significant thing for us, and even a significant thing for the kingdom in this county, in this valley. So land, 3 services, our fall plans, and then lastly, KidsCon, or firstly, KidsCon. If you could be praying for those 4 things, that would be a wonderful and a beautiful thing, and one of the, a really effective way even to continue to partner with us as we're getting after things at the Lehi campus. So if you could be praying for land, 3 services, fall plans, and KidsCon, I would appreciate that so much. But yeah, that's where we're at. That's where we've been. That's what we're doing now, and this is what we have ahead of us. So I'm super excited. So many good things happen in the life of this campus, and you all play a massive, massive role within that. So, all right, just wanted to give this update. Let me just say this: if there's anything I can do, if you got any questions, if you want to connect, I'd be happy to meet up. I just want you to know I'm available to you. But thank you all so much for the ways that you engage, that you show up, that you are faithful when it comes to your engagement with this campus. We would not be what we are without you. And so thank you so much, and I can't wait to see what takes place for us over the course of this next ministry year.